Welcome. We're looking at building an e-commerce website using WordPress. Building an e-commerce website using WordPress. The first thing you need to understand is what is e-commerce itself. What is e-commerce itself? Now, we say e-commerce is any process whereby you buy or sell or transact business using the internet, using your internet functionality. It makes it an e-commerce. It makes it e-commerce. It means an online or electronic commerce. So we want to look at how can you build a website using e-commerce. Now let's look at what commerce itself means. Now commerce also means electronic process or internet commerce. Refers to the process of buying and selling goods and services using the internet, like I said before. The process of transferring money, the moment you transfer money from one person to the other or data is being exchanged, that is e-commerce. Now, what is an e-commerce website? What is an e-commerce website? Now, an e-commerce website or a website designed to function with the capacity of e-commerce is the process of creating an online store for your business to sell digitally. The process of creating an online store or an online presence for your business to sell digitally. It can be a service, it can be a product. You first need to what? Conceptualize it and arrange the content or the product to effectively display it on the internet. So we're going to look at how we can build an e-commerce website using WordPress. WordPress is powering a lot of e-commerce websites out there, and you should also know that there is a little difference between an e-commerce website and a marketplace. While an e-commerce website tries to focus on one user, you, selling on your website, a marketplace allows multiple people, multiple sellers to sell on a website. So this module for this course is focusing on building an e-commerce website. Now, the first thing you need to do is to log into your WordPress dashboard. As you can see, I'm already in my WordPress interface. Now we want to go into installing a plugin. We need a plugin to use to build our e-commerce website. We're going to look for the plugin called Woocommerce. Woocommerce, that's the name of the plugin. Woocommerce is a very powerful tool and it has powered so many websites. As you can see, it has over 5 million plus download as at the time of this recording. So a lot of people use it to power their e-commerce website. It has capacity for various types of e-commerce websites. As you know, some people sell books, some people sell digital products, some people sell delivery product that can be delivered. This software can handle all types of products. So what you need to do is to click on install. Once you are done with the installation process, the next thing you need to do is to move in and click on activate. Click on activate. So we're still installing our software right now, which is the plugin. So it's done. I click on activate. I'll click on activate. WooCommerce is open source. It is customizable. You have access to build what you want to build with it and enjoy the flexibility that comes with it. It supports so many payment gateway all around the world. So you're presented with this quick welcome guide for you to fill in your information that you want to use for your website. So for example, I'm going to just put an address. So optional, just put a region. Here is Nigeria. Just select Lagos, Nigeria. You can put the city if you want. You can also put your postcode if you want. Now you can see I'm setting this store for my client or for yourself. So if you're setting up for a client, you can click on this option. So I'm just gonna move on and click on I'm setting up for a client, for example. Click on continue. Would you like to get information? If you would like to get this, then you can go with this. Now just say no thanks. Now, what kind of store do you want to set up? Is it going to be a fashion and apparel or accessory store? Is it going to be health and beauty, electronics and computer? This is just for WooCommerce to guide you in terms of some of the features that they would offer to you. But for the best cost, we'll just go for others, so it can allow us just to be flexible with what we want to build as much as possible. So, do you want to sell physical products? Do you also want to sell downloadable products? Do you want to sell membership? All these comes as some extra option. Nevertheless, there are other plugins that you can add to get this functionality without going through this process. So all you have to do is select physical and select download so that you can understand the process. So you click on continue. Now, do you want to tell WooCommerce about your business? How many products do you have? You can also select different options that you want to use here. So, okay, currently selling elsewhere. Are you selling your products or services elsewhere? If you're selling, you can select the option. If not, just select no and click on continue. Do you want to add recommended business features to your site? That's if you want to. There are some other plugins that WooCommerce can install for you as you run along. Jetpack is there, MapQuest is there, Facebook for e-commerce is there, Google listing and ad is there. So if you want these other plugins that are listed here, you can say, but if you don't want, click on deactivate and say continue. Now it's going to present to you some themes. And remember, we've studied themes in other courses and other modules that we've done. So if you want to select a theme at this point, you can go on with it. If you don't want to select a theme, just run through it. If you're sure you don't have anything you want to work with, just move on and click on skip this step. Yes, so we have completed the process of installing, activating, and running through the basic settings of WooCommerce. Now let's roll through the settings in a more broader view. So all you need to do is under WooCommerce, click on settings. Now you can see we store address where we put in some basic address the other time. You can see our store address. We'll put in some basic address the other time. You can see this is our store address. Now these are other important information. Selling location. Do you want to sell your product to specific countries, or do you want to sell your product to only a country, or do you want to sell your product to every other country except one country? So let's look at the options here. Do you want to sell to all countries? It means that your product can be purchased from anywhere in the world. Do you want to sell to all countries except a particular country? For example, you want to sell to all countries except maybe the US. You don't want to sell the product to the US. Maybe due to some regulation, you don't want to sell the product to the US. Or do you want to sell to specific countries? So maybe I want to sell to Nigeria, I want to sell to the US, I want to sell to Cameroon, I want to sell to Ghana, I want to sell to Canada. Then I can set those specific countries here. Or I go with the default option that allows me to sell my product to any country, so anybody can come and buy my product. These options varies depending on your product and the type of website that you are building. So if your website, for example, it's a digital product, maybe they are buying a software, maybe they are buying an ebook, maybe they are buying something that you don't need to deliver to them, then you can go with sell to all countries when you know you don't have any restrictions because the products are digital products. But if you have restrictions, maybe you are selling food items, then you might want to look at the countries that you want to sell to, considering the fact that these items can get expired or get destroyed along the line if they don't meet up with the expected laws of each country. So these are the things that you need to consider. So for this example, I'm just going to show you if I want to sell to all countries except, so it means that any country I put in here, for example, if I put in maybe Afghanistan, it means that it will allow all countries to buy except this country. I can also put the United States. It means it will allow all countries to buy except the United States. Now, so these are options you can go with. Then you can go with the next option and say sell to specific countries. It means that I can put Afghanistan as a specific country. It means it's going to sell to only people in Afghanistan. I can also put Nigeria. It's going to sell to Nigeria. I can also put the United States and the United Kingdom. So it means that it's going to sell to just people in these countries alone. But what we want to work with for this is sell to all countries. It means sell to all countries. Now, the next option is shipping location. The fact that you're selling to some countries, you might not offer shipping to such country. Now, do you want to ship to all countries you sell to, or do you want to ship to specific countries only, or do you want to disable shipping and shipping calculation? Now, if your product is digital product, something that can be downloaded, then you need to disable shipping because you can't charge for shipping anymore, and you don't want to make your site look cumbersome by putting a shipping calculation when you know that your products are digital products. So it depends on what you're doing that you pick the options relevant to your own website or the kind of website that you want to set up. So for this example, I will say ship to all countries that we sell to. The next option here talks about default customer location. Now, what is the default customer location? This uses your geolocation to set what is happening. Now, do you want the default location to be on the base address? The base address means it's going to be Nigeria because that's what we set as the base address. Or do you want to use a geolocate to ensure that it checks the IP of the person browsing the website and sets that as the default location? Or do you want to do geolocation, the support page caching, which means the page can be cached, nevertheless, it still supports the geolocation settings. So by default, I'm just going to use shop base address. The next option here is enable tax. Now, this is a very sensitive setting that you need to understand. Depends on your country and the kind of product or service that you're offering. Then you can go with the option to enable tax rates and calculation. Now, some countries allow you to put in the tax along with the products, while some will expect you to separate the tax from the cost of the product. So it depends on what your country is using, or depends on what the industry or the website that you're building it is working on, then you can put in the right settings. The next option here is to enable coupon. Do you want to use coupon on your website where you can generate some coupon to customers and they can use to shop on your website at a discounted rate? Now, this is also optional if you want to use coupon code, and that will also influence your capacity to calculate the coupon code separately from the main cost of the product, or to calculate various coupon codes separately if you want. Now, the next option here is currency selection. What is the base currency for this product? So because up here we use Nigeria as our base country, then it means that we have to select the Naira here as our base currency, the currency that we want to use. Every other setting here, it's good because we're using Nigeria. The Naira sign is also on the left, and every other thing is fine. So I just click on Save Changes. Now that's the first setting we've done. The next one is product related settings. Product related settings. So I'm just going to close this. Select this option here. Now, under the product related setting, by default, when you install your WooCommerce application, some pages are installed automatically for you on your website. One of those pages is called the shop page. We also have the accounts page. We also have the sign in page, which is also linked to the account. It automatically displays your sign in and sign up for you. We also have the forget password, which is also linked as well. And we have some other pages that you can see. We're going to explore that in the next few minutes. So we have the shop page by default here. And now the add to cart behavior. Do you want to enable just add to carts, or you want to use automatically redirect after successful addition? What does this mean? Now, the first option to redirect means that if I go to your shop page now and I click on add to cart, it adds my product to cart and automatically goes to the checkout page so that for me to see how to go and check out and make payment for that product. While the second option here just adds to the cart and I have to go to the checkout or the cart page manually myself. Now, this depends on the kind of product or website that you're building. For some websites, it is good for them to use the enable address because people can add multiple products. While for some websites, they just want you to add the product and it redirects to cart, and you can always come back if you need more product. This can be a very smart decision if you are considering a quick customer conversion. Now the next one here is the image placeholder. Please note that this number here is representing the image on the website. Now this number can differ depending on the website. It's reading the types of the database so far. So this number can be any number. It doesn't have to be 28, so it can be any number. It's just an image placeholder on your website. If you want to read more information, you can click here so you can see it. You can say that's the attachment ID or the image URL used for placeholders, like I said. The next option is measurement. Do you want to measure in weight or in dimension? Now, when it comes to weight, are you going to go with kg? It's going to be in kilograms or grams, or what other options do you have based on your product that you're selling? And the dimension is going to be in centimeters or meters or millimeters or in yards or in inches. Depends on the settings that you want. So because I'm not going to deal with this right now, I'm just going to skip that option. Now the next option is very important. Do you want to allow reviews? Enable product review, show verified owner label, or review only for people that have bought the product? Or do you want to enable the star review, which means they can put a rating there, or you want to ensure that rating is required, not optional? Now, for a new website that you're building, you might want to consider taking out these options because you don't want a review yet. It's still a basic new website. So for you to do that and take out all the options, you have to start from the bottom up, then deactivate them and click on Save Changes. Now on the product, we also have the inventory, the inventory option. Now under the inventory option, do you want to enable stock management? WooCommerce is very powerful. It allows you to also manage your stock. So you can also use the stock manager functionality here. So you can enable stock management if you are dealing with digital product that is limited or physical products that is limited. For example, if you're selling an ebook is not limited. You can sell 10,000 copies. So you do need stock management for your ebook website. But if you're dealing with a physical book and you're limited by maybe 100 stock, then it means that you have to consider using a stock management functionality. So it can get notification as you sell the product, and as it reduces, you can get details about it. So let's quickly run through the settings. How long can a product be on hold? Now it means that if I try to add a product to cart and I've not made payment at that point, that product is already reduced from the stock entry on the website. Take for example, we have 3 products on the website and I add 2 of them to the cart, but I'm still trying to make payments. And the moment I'm trying to make payment, the stock has been reduced. So on the website, we only have 1 left. Now, how long should this be held for that customer? Now, these can be a very sensitive settings that you need to consider. Now, can it wait for 60 minutes? That practically means that if the person is trying to make payment within the space of 1 hour, the product will be unavailable. This can be a negative setting if you're not careful, because some of the customers might want to also buy this product, but because it's reading out of stock or it's low on stock because someone else is trying to pay and it's taking 1 hour, then that can affect the customer's decision. So I always advise that these settings should be based on your careful study and survey of the way your customers interact with your website, and you can always come back to make changes to this page as much as you want. Now the next one is enable stock notification. Do you want to enable low stock notification so that you can get a prompting once your products are low, or you want to get notification when the products are out of stock? Both options are great depending on the kind of website you're working with. Now the next one is who is going to get this notification. This is another beautiful settings by WooCommerce. So it means that I can just add a comma and add multiple emails, maybe the store manager, the CEO, the branch managers. I can put all their emails here and they will all get an email about this low stock entry or out of stock entry for that product or service that we're talking about. Now the next thing we have here is low stock threshold. What is the threshold for your low stock? Now this is very, very important, and it's good that you do this at product based level. Now you can put a general setting here or leave the default setting, but on your product based level you can always make changes to this. Let me take for example, if the total number of products that you have in your store is 5 for a particular product, and some products you have 20, some products you have 100, and the rest. So this setting will not be sufficient to cater for all the products. So it's good to make these changes under the product based setting. Now the next one is hide out of stock item. So if an item is out of stock, do you want to hide them from the website generally, or you want to leave it on the website? Now this depends on the kind of product or service that you're offering on your website. Now if your website has just few products, then you don't want to hide a product that is out of stock, because if you're not careful, you might end up having a website with no product at all, because all the products are out of stock. So it's always good to leave the product there. Nevertheless, the out of stock option can be controlled from this next settings. So always show quantity remaining. This depends on you. Only show quantity remaining in stock. For example, we have 2 left, then it will display 2 left, or never show quantity remaining in stock. All this option is based on what you want to do. So because we didn't make any changes here, I will just go to the next option, which is downloadable products. On the downloadable product, now this is specific if you're working with products that are downloadable. Now the default option here is the best option: force download. Now let me explain this. Now when you tell it force download, it then means that it tries to ensure that the download is done from the server, while the second option means it's going to redirect you or send the file to you. This is not a good option, because if somebody makes a purchase of that your ebook, they can always share the direct download link to their friends, and they will also be able to download that book even without going inside the website or logging in. Then the next option, redirect insecure. This is not a good option. So the first option is always good for your product that you're working with. Now this is a very powerful option. Download requires login. Now, apart from the fact that's going to force download for them, you're going to put the restriction to ensure that for everyone that's going to download that book, they must be logged in. It means that the person that purchased the product would have to log in to download the book or download the item that they've bought so far. Now, grant access to download product after payment. Now, this is good if you are dealing with digital product, like I said earlier, and the product here, the person is going to pay using their card or online payment. Once payment is verified, it is good to always move the product to complete, so they can always download without your interaction as much as possible. Now the third option say to append a unique string of file name for security. This is also very good to ensure that for each download that is made, this always puts some unique information at the end, so nobody can easily guess what the link is. So if you're done, just click on save changes. Now this next option, we just want to take a look at it. This option talks about your shipping. So if you're dealing with a product that requires shipping, then you need to understand how your shipping zone work, your shipping option, and your shipping class. Now it's always good for you to understand this by talking to a shipping expert, or deal with one of your shipping consultants that will help you understand the best method for you to ship your items. So we're going to talk about that in this module. We'll just move on to the next, which is the payments. Now for your payments, there are basic payments options that are here for you under your WooCommerce application. One of them is the option for direct bank transfer. Do you want to allow them do a direct bank transfer? Do you want to do check payment? Do you want to do cash on delivery? Or you want to use the PayPal payment gateway? Now, depends on your country. Some countries do not allow some payment gateway. So if you need more payment gateways, for example, you can always go to your plugins, add the payment gateway, and it will be displayed here. So let's take a quick look at that. Let's go to plugins, add new, and let's go and add our payment gateway for PayStack. Let's go and add PayStack as our payment gateway for this option. The page is still loading. So while that's loading, I will just activate my direct bank transfer as an option for payment. I'll also activate cash on delivery. I can always move them around if I want, just by dragging these two. Then I can always set them up to put in the right details that I need for these to work. So if you want to set this up, you can click on setup. Then you put some information about, so we'll just click on set up. Let's set up our cash on delivery option. Okay, so you can change the title from cash on delivery to whatever you want to. You can call it maybe pay on delivery. So you can call it pay on delivery. You can set up the information about it, maybe description. You can say pay upon delivery. These are just basic information that you can do. Now you can also restrict, if you're using your shipping, you can restrict a shipping method to a payment gateway. So there are some options where, because they are going to ship the item, you can't collect the cash on delivery. They have to pay online. It means that that payment gateway can be restricted to the type of shipping that is available. Now, do you want to accept COD if the order is virtual? This is not a good option. So if the order is going to be a digital, maybe a book or something that they can download, then you can take this option out of it and click on save changes. So use this option here to go back to the payment settings. So let's click on our plugin. So we are going to add a plugin called Paystack for Nigeria. Paystack is one of the payment gateways that we have here in Nigeria. It's very good, and recently they got a partnership with Woocommerce, so it's part of the Woocommerce solution that you get now. So you click on install. So ensure that you click on install for Paystack Woocommerce. It has to be the Paystack Woocommerce, because we also have Paystack Forgive, we also have Paystack Payment Form, and some of the Paystack solutions so far. So I'll click on activate. And once you're done with activation, just come back here where you have your payment gateway, and you can just save pages so that you can refresh the page, and you can see that we now have Paystack as the payment option that we can use as well. So I will just move that up quickly as my preferred payment option. Then you activate it, and now you have to set up. For you to set up your Paystack or other payment gateway, you need your API, and for you to do that, you need to sign up with them on their own website to get the relevant details that you want to use. So you need to sign up with them on their website, get the relevant details that you want to use. So you can change the title here if you want. You can enable the test mode, so it means you can use the test key. So I have some test key already here, so I'll just select some of my test keys here. So you can see I have my test keys here, so I just select the test key. So you can always go to the account Paystack and get some of this key. Do you want to accept order to be complete immediately? Now this depends on the products that you're selling. If it's a digital product, then this is a good option. If it's a product that you have to deliver, you have to allow it to go through the process, which means it has to be ordered, it has to be on processing. Then once you deliver the item, then it has to be on completed. But if it's a digital product that we're dealing with, I can put this option here. Then you want to remove the cancel and restore the cart? Yes, I would love that. So I want to put this option here. So once an order is cancelled, then it restores back to cart. So remember, we talk about maybe you have 3 in stock, then this can also work for you. Now Paystack also has the split payment option if you want to use the payments to split the amount into 2 or 3 sub accounts on the Paystack. If you are good with all this option, you can click on save changes. You want to enable Paystack save the payment card for the customer. This is a good option because you consider customers returning to your website to make purchase. Then do you want to enable some custom metadata? Now this is also good if you want to save some information on the Paystack server, so it can be easier for your account department to check things on the go. So you want to send order ID to them, customer name, customer email, customer phone number, billing address, shipping address, and the item that was purchased, and click on save changes. Good. Now the next option we want to look at is account and privacy. Account and privacy. Account and privacy. Now in this option, we want to look at how we can set up our e-commerce website effectively. Now we look at first thing, do you want to allow guests, people that do not have an account, to buy on your website? Now this can be a good option depending on the product or service you're offering. Otherwise, you can take out the option here. Now, do you want to allow customer log into existing accounts during checkout? Yes. Allow them create an account on checkout. Allow them create an account on my account page. Now, these other 2 options, I love to deactivate them. I want the customers to be able to create their own username, and I also want them to be able to create their own password so that they can remember it. Now, this can come at a cost if you're not careful, because some customers might use a basic username or a basic password that makes it unsecured, and that can affect the security of the website or the customer. So sometimes it might be a good option to leave there, but sometimes it's always good to allow the customers, because they always have various passwords they desire to use. So it's good for them to generate their password on their own end. Now these other options depends on you and your country. Do you want to allow them erase their data on request? Now there are some countries where you're not allowed to delete this information, so you deactivate them by default. So you leave all this by default. Your privacy information are based on you. You can always make changes to the content, and once you're done, click on save changes. And the next option, which is going to be like the last option we'll look at, is emails. These are just basic settings that you can do. Now, because you installed the website, the WordPress database for the customer, at this point you need to make changes here. If you're not the owner of the website, you need to click on manage for 1, 2, and 3 and change the emails here to that of the customer, so the customer or the owner of the website can get emails about new orders, cancel orders, and failed orders. These are very important things that you need to change here. Then come down here as well and change this to the email of the website. So for example, we're using listedhosting.com.ng, so I might create an email called info or sales or whatever I want to do. Then what is the name this item is going with? So I want to say from listed hosting commerce. So this might be the basic what I want to use for here, or I can come here and change. Do I want to have an header? If I want to use an header image, I can use an header image here. Do I want to change this option? So build width, I'm going to take that out. So just take this out for branding. Then I can make some changes to the colors that I have here. Then I click on save changes. So remember, we can also change this one. So let's just take a quick example of the first one. So who gets the new order email? I can put multiple emails, like by just putting a comma there, and that will allow me to put multiple emails. Then I can change this email to something else that I want. So that's a basic setting. Always go back with this arrow here. The next two options are basically based on what you need. So we have the integration and the advanced options. So I'll just quickly look at them so you see what it looks like. So integration, if you have want to use your geolocation with MaxMind, then you can put in your API here. Then if you want to use advanced option, this just talks about some important options like the pages we'll talk about. You can see the pages that were created for all, the cart page, checkout page, and my account page. So these are linked. So your terms and condition page, you can also come here to link the page. So for example, I always like to link that first to my privacy policy page. So I just link that. That's also created for you by default or by your WordPress installation. So these are other things, the checkpoints. Now the checkpoints are very important, or we'll call it the endpoints. They're very important with WooCommerce. Now there are some sites that you don't need some of these things. So if you don't need some of these things, you can take them out. But these are very important endpoints for you, and these ones as well. So if my site has nothing to do with downloads, I can take this download option out, and that takes out the download menu on the customer's end. By default, all these options will be available for the customers. For us to do a quick check on that, you can click on visit store. So we're going to visit our store right now and see what it looks like. So you see the store has no products currently. So remember, the pages will be my accounts. So you can always go to the page directly, or you type out the page that you want. So let's go and type out the page that we want. So we'll go back to our settings. This is it, shop page. Go back to dashboard. So let's go and see the pages that were created for us. So I come to pages. So you can see the cart page, checkouts. This is the older page that we worked on. Then we have the shop page and my account page. So I'll just go to my account page and view it in the next tab. So while that is loading up quickly, I'm going to view other things that we need to see here. So I don't need to make any changes here, and that will be the end of the setup for WooCommerce. How to set up your WooCommerce page. Okay, so this is my account page. I'm still loading. I'm just going to go back to page now. Okay, this is my account page. So you can see dashboard, order, download, address, payment method, accounts, and logout. So these are the basic settings that you get. So if you have deactivated any settings from this part, for example, if I take out download from here and save changes, when I come back here to my account page and refresh, this download option will no longer be there. So you can see the download is no longer there as an endpoint for me to use. So I'm just going to return that back here and just click on save changes. So if I refresh this page now, I'll see my download option